What's up, family? Back again with another episode of Tax-Free Living, where I'm teaching entrepreneurs just like you how to live tax-free. And today we have one of the craziest tax topics that we've ever had on the show. And the topic is income taxes could be gone forever. Forever. The White House could potentially abolish the IRS as we know it and get rid of income taxes altogether. So if you're interested in this topic at all, I highly suggest you watch this whole video, because at the end, I'm going to give you my opinion on if this is actually going to happen in 2023. So without further ado, guys, please like and subscribe to today's video. Share this with somebody, because this is literally going to be one of the craziest topics we ever talk about. Well, that we have talked about on this show thus far. And I'm wearing this shirt, the No Taxes shirt, because this could be our reality soon. This could be our reality sooner than later. So let's talk about what this Fair Tax Act is, and let's go through all the details. I know you're curious about, like, Carter, what are you talking about? Okay, so recently, the Republicans have proposed a bill that would abolish the IRS and that would get rid of income taxes as we know it. And it would get rid of income taxes and replace it with something called the consumption tax. We already know what income taxes are, but what would be this consumption tax that's going to replace income taxes? Is it better? Is it worse? Is it the better of two evils, right? So consumption tax is simple, right? Instead of being taxed on the income that we make like we do with income taxes, instead, we will be taxed on the money that we spend. We will be taxed on the goods and services that we consume, hence why it's called the consumption tax. So think about that for a second. There could be a world where we receive all the money that we earn. If your job says they're gonna pay you $100,000, you would actually receive all $100,000, right, throughout the year. And then you will only be taxed on the money that you spent, which would lead to some crazy things happening in the economy, which we'll talk about in a moment. This Fair Tax Act bill was proposed by Republican Buddy Carter. I personally think this was a way to get back at the Democrats, but I personally think this is Republicans sending a message to Democrats for passing the Inflation Reduction Act. You know, that the Inflation Reduction Act was an act that was passed that they spent billions of dollars to hire 87,000 new IRS agents to increase audits, to increase reviews of tax returns, and to really bulk up the IRS agents, right? So the Democrats passed that this past year. So this Fair Tax Act, in my opinion, is the Republicans pushing back and saying, hey, you're not going to spend billions of dollars on hiring IRS agents just to audit more people to try to get more money. So this is the Republicans' fireback, which again, I think, you know, which I'll say my opinions to the end, but like this, it's a potentiality, right? So let's discuss what all is encompassed in this new bill. What would happen if this Fair Tax Act is actually passed? Well, number one, we just talked about it. Income taxes would be completely gone. They would be completely wiped out. There would be no more income taxes. On top of that, there will also be no corporate taxes. The corporate tax rate right now is 21% for all corporations. That would be gone. So imagine how many more billions of dollars would be pumped into the economy because, like, there's no corporate tax. Company brings in billions of dollars, right? They would get to keep billions of dollars more or hundreds of millions of dollars more because there will also be no corporate tax. On top of that, they will be getting rid of death tax, they'll be getting rid of gift tax, and they'll be getting rid of payroll taxes. So you know that additional 15.3% that we get charged on our payroll for FICA taxes, that would be gone as well. This could add up to be a lot of money back in Americans' pocket if this bill was to be passed. How much would the consumption tax bill be? Because we understand that the income tax would be removed, right? The highest income tax rate is 37%. And we also understand that the corporate tax would be removed. The highest corporate tax rate is 21%. So how much would the consumption tax have to be to make up for all of these taxes that would be dismissed? So according to my research, the consumption tax would be anywhere from 0 to 30%. And this will be based on two things. It will be based on your monthly spending, and it will be based on your monthly income. So your monthly income and your monthly spending would determine what consumption tax rate you're in, and that's how much will be levied on every single purchase that you make. Like when you go to pay for something, right, your consumption tax will be added to that bill. And depending on how much you make and how much you spend, that would be the consumption tax that you would be required to pay at that moment. On top of this, right, all Americans will get either a $250 rebate or a $500 rebate in a way for the IRS to replace what's called the standard deduction. So based on how many kids you have and your family, your poverty level, it would determine how much your rebate would be per year to try to replace what we now have as the standard deduction. Now that we know the ins and outs of the tax plan, two very important things we need to talk about, right? Number one, how would this affect the economy, right? How would this affect the economy, number one? And then number two, what is the actual likelihood of this being passed? So let's talk about how this would affect the economy first, right? And again, this is just my opinion because we haven't seen this before, but I think a few things would happen just based on my education as an economist, right? So number one, consumer spending could go down. Because think about it. If you tell me that you're gonna tax me the more money I spend, guess who not spending a lot of money, right? If you tell me like, yo, we gonna tax you based on how much money you spend, my answer gonna be, well, guess who ain't spending no money? And I'm not the only American that's gonna be saying that. They're gonna be like, well, guess who ain't spending no money? So I personally think that the consumer spending would go down tremendously. And if you know anything about economics, if you know anything about supply and demand and things of that nature, right? If spending goes down and businesses are gonna make more money, they're probably gonna try to increase prices because if fewer people are spending, they're gonna be, we gotta get our money somehow. So we got to increase some prices around here. So prices could potentially go up, or because there's higher demand for less spending, prices could go down. But if prices went down, that means the economy would tank because businesses would tank. If people stop shopping at Apple, and Apple's one of the biggest companies in the world, and Apple has to drop their prices to get people to spend more, guess whose stock price is gonna drop? You know how much Apple contributes to the economy? Like, it's in the S&P 500, it's in the Dow Jones, one of the top companies, the most highly valued companies in the world, so the stock price can go down, which would dramatically affect the economy and your investments. Businesses might have to change their model of how they sell, right? Because if I can't sell because people aren't buying, like how would that affect business owners, right? I mean, me included, right? How would business owners be able to circumvent the lack of spending, right? We saw what happened in COVID, what happened with restaurants, so people can go to restaurants, people want to spend a lot of money. So this could temporarily have a negative effect on the economy. But here's the other thinking, right? Here's the other side of the coin. Everybody would have so much more money, right? Like people would have 30 to 50% more money, right? Like, so because people have more money in their pocket, we could see more spending, right? So it's different ways that you can look at it, guys. But like, I would be very curious to see what would happen. But like for me personally, that means if there's a consumption tax and there's no income tax, that means there's no tax returns. So that means what would happen to accountants? That would be tough, right? That would be tough. So that's just the things I've been thinking about how this could affect the economy. But here's the biggest thing that you all are probably concerned about. What is the actual likelihood of it being passed in 2023? So my opinion is, right? My opinion is this is highly unlikely. I'm sorry, guys. I'll give you my honest opinion. If you think that the House of Representatives and the White House is going to allow for this income tax to be completely wiped out, you must not know our government, right? And the ramifications that could happen with the already unstable economy, I think it's highly unlikely that this bill would be passed at all. And I think it's highly unlikely this bill will be passed anytime soon, right? So, but it is something interesting to think about, right? Like what would happen in the world with no income taxes? And if we did it, like well, other countries would follow suit. So it's something interesting to think about. I unfortunately don't think it's gonna happen, but what it did do, in my opinion, it did make people alerted about taxes during tax time. During tax season, which is right now, it got people thinking about taxes. Majority of people put off taxes and hide from it, but this new proposed law did get taxpayers thinking about filing taxes, which is again why I'm talking about this and why you all are on this channel in the first place. But let me know in the comments, do you think this could actually happen? What do you think the effect on the economy is? And do you personally want to see this happen? So please let me know your opinions in the comments. I am super excited to read those and hear what you all have to say. But again, if you like this video, please like, subscribe, and share, and we'll see what happens. All right, guys, I'll see you on the next episode of Tax Free Living. I am out. And don't forget, check out our other videos. We got plenty of other videos. Check them out. See you guys next time. Peace.